Howdy y'all, it's here's the NRA Man Forever. And in this week's installment of Lame Ass Excuses for Gun Control, we're going to take a look at the crazy paranoid anarchist theory. And for this week's quote, we go to Rachel Maddow. Silly me. Getting these liberals' names all confused and whatnot, tongue-in-cheek insults. What the hell am I thinking? These people know everything. They should run our... Oh, wait, they kind of are trying to run our country into the ground. I mean, run our country. But anyway, on January 14th of 2011, Mrs. Maddow had this to say on her her nationally syndicated news show on CNN. In their view, to do right by the Constitution, you and I need to be able to defeat the U.S. military in battle. We need to be able to overthrow the U.S. government. This is not a hyperbole. If you believe the gun radicals' philosophy about guns, that gun rights are to protect our ability to overthrow the government, then we need to be able to defeat the United States military so we can overthrow the government. Is that what gun rights are for? Okay, Mrs. Maddow, I know you went to college. I didn't. So I'm going to try to bring it up to your level, your overly educated level, and break it down for you, and not use revisionist history. When the Founding Fathers when the American Revolution was won, Great Britain was defeated, embarrassed, and sent packing, the Founding Fathers and that generation had stood up against tyranny. Now, you can sit there and debate the merits of how much better off we'd be as where we are now, or some other strange twist in history that, thank goodness, never happened. That's another video, another debate for another time. We're going to stick with what actually did happen. They overthrew tyrants, or more specifically, in what their view at the time was tyranny. It was their responsibility to put in place a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Now, human beings are corrupt inherently by nature. So they put in a bunch of safeguards into our Constitution when it was ratified by the states in 1791. One of those safeguards was the ultimate safeguard to guarantee against tyranny. It was the Second Amendment. And you know what? I don't need to read it to know what it says. In fact, I have it memorized. The Second Amendment of the United States Constitution reads as such: a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, the Founding Fathers understood one simple premise. When any government makes the, depending on the situation, gradual or rapid decline from democracy to despotism, the first thing any intelligent dictator is going to do is disarm the populace. That way they have no means to fight back against tyranny. Look at Germany in World War II. Look at fascist Italy in the same time period. Japan. And not only Germany, but look at what Germany did to every country it took over during the Blitzkrieg. The first thing they did after they burned pretty much every single major city to the ground was disarm the populace, starting with the Jews and working their way down towards everybody else. Why? So there would be no resistance, so there would be no means to fight back. So to answer your question, yes, that is what gun rights are for. To be able to protect the ability of the American citizenry to stand a fucking fighting chance if a tyrannical government were ever to be put into place by ignorant, uninformed voters. Because let me tell you right now, no matter how you look at it, no matter whether you want to accept it, whether whether you want to acknowledge it or ignore it. Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, they were both democratically elected into their position, and they abused the fucking hell out of their power. Now that that's been established, the chances, realistically speaking, unless something goes horribly wrong, of despotism taking root in the United States of America, starting with our government, is relatively low. Thankfully, it is microscopically low. And I hope it stays that way. I really do. I'll be the first one to pick up a firearm in defense of the Constitution in accordance with the wishes of the Founding Fathers. That being said, I won't particularly enjoy it, and I hope that day never comes. I honestly do. I really hope it never comes. But I'm prepared if it does. Now, moving on, there are over 300 million legally possessed firearms in the hands of law-abiding, responsible citizens in this country. To make a move on gun control, to outright ban and attempt to confiscate and disarm people based on certain weaponry, or all weaponry, would be insanity. No. And if, we're going to play hypothetical here, if a tyrannical government were to ever take root in the United States of America, there are far too many people in our fine fighting forces, like me, that are still in there and are waiting to join. I know if it came down to that situation I was still in, along with like 98% of the people I served with, if it came down to that situation, they would either refuse to fight, they would throw their guns down, put their hands up, and become voluntary non-combatants, or they would flip sides and join the rebellion, and give the citizens their training and tactics and access to whatever weapons and equipment they had with them. So, sorry Rachel, but chances of us ever having to defeat the military in an attempt to overthrow a tyrannical government, those are just as astronomically low. Hate to burst your bubble, you fucking cunt. The Founding Fathers wanted us to have the Second Amendment so that, in the event, we would have a means to fight back. And we wouldn't be, metaphorically speaking, standing arms locked, naked as hell, against a wall of guns. This is the NRA man forever, reminding you, united we stand, divided we fall. Join the NRA.